Hey, we are in Job chapters 36 through 39. We're going to cover four chapters. The very first, in chapter 36, we still have Elihu talking, and Elihu kind of says that he's about to teach Job about God. Remember, Elihu is the youngest of the men, but he's going to teach Job about God. But here's the reality: he really does say some good stuff about God. Then we get into God's response. And there's not a lot of things that I need to say, except for the fact that there is some good stuff in these next few chapters. Listen closely to how God talks to Job concerning what is going on. He never really answers why this is happening, but he shows why he is God and why Job is not. So, chapter 36. Elihu said, "Be patient a while longer. I have something else to say in God's defense. God always does right, and this knowledge comes straight from God. You can rest assured that what I say is true. Although God is mighty, he cares about everyone and makes fair decisions. The wicked are cut down, and those who are wronged receive justice. God watches over good people and places them in positions of power and honor forever. But when people are prisoners of suffering and pain, God points out their sin and their pride. Then he warns them to turn back to him. And if they obey, they will be successful and happy from then on. But if they foolishly refuse, they will be rewarded with a violent death. Godless people are too angry to ask God for help when he punishes them. So they die young in shameful disgrace. Hard times and trouble are God's way of getting our attention. And at this very moment, God deeply desires to lead you from trouble and to spread your table with your favorite food. Now that the judgment for your sins has fallen upon you, don't let your anger and the pain you endured make you sneer at God. Your reputation and riches cannot protect you from distress, nor can you find safety in the dark world below. Be on guard. Don't turn to evil as a way of escape. God's power is unlimited. He needs no teachers to guide or correct him. Others have praised God for what he has done, so join with them. From down here on earth, everyone has looked up and seen how great God is. God is more than we imagine. No one can count the years he has lived. God gathers moisture into the clouds and supplies us with rain. Who can understand how God scatters the clouds and speaks from his home in the thunderstorm? And when God sends lightning, it can be seen at the bottom of the sea. By producing such rainstorms, God rules the world and provides us with food. Each flash of lightning is one of his arrows striking its target, and the thunder tells of his anger against sin. I am frightened and trembled all over. When I hear the roaring voice of God in the thunder, and when I see his lightning flash across the sky, God's majestic voice thunders his commands, creating miracles too marvelous for us to understand. Snow and heavy rainstorms make us stop and think about God's power, and they force animals to seek shelter. The windstorms of winter strike, and the breath of God freezes streams and rivers. Rain clouds filled with lightning appear at God's command, traveling across the sky to release their cargo, sometimes as punishment for sin, sometimes as kindness. Job, consider carefully the many wonders of God. Can you explain why lightning flashes at the orders of God who knows all things? Or how he hangs the clouds in empty space? You almost melt in the heat of fierce desert winds when the sky is like brass. God can spread out the clouds to get relief from the heat, but can you? Tell us what to say to God. Our minds are in the dark, and we don't know how to argue our case. Should I risk my life by telling God what I want to speak, that I want to speak? No one can stare at the sun after a breeze has blown the clouds from the sky. Yet the glorious splendor of God, all powerful, is brighter by far. God cannot be seen, but his power is great and he is always fair. And so we humans fear God because he shows no respect for those who are proud and think they know so much. From out of the storm, the Lord said to Job, "Why do you talk so much when you know so little? Now get ready to face me. Can you answer the questions I ask? How did I lay the foundation of the earth? Were you there? Doubtless you know who decided its length and width, what supports the foundation, who placed the cornerstone, while morning stars sang and angels rejoiced. When the ocean was born, I set its boundaries and wrapped it in blankets of thickest fog. Then I built a wall around it, locked the gates, and said, your powerful waves stop here. They can go no farther. Did you ever tell the sun to rise, and did it obey? Did it take hold of the earth and shake out the wicked like dust from a rug? Early dawn outlines the hills like stitches on clothing or sketches on clay. But its light is too much for those who are evil and their power is broken. Job, have you ever walked on the ocean floor? Have you seen the gate to the world of the dead? And how large is the earth? Tell me if you know. Where is the home of light, and where does darkness live? Can you lead them home? I'm certain you must be able to, since you were already born when I created everything. Have you been to the places where I keep snow and hail until I use them to punish and conquer nations? From where does lightning leap, or the east wind blow? Who carves out a path of thunderstorms? Who sends torrents of rain on empty deserts where no one lives? Rain that changes barren land to meadows green with grass. Who is the father of the dew of the rain, and who gives birth to the sleet and frost that fall in winter when streams and lakes freeze solid as a rock? Can you arrange stars in groups such as Orion or Pleiades? Do you control the stars or set in place the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper? Do you know the laws that govern the heavens? And can you make them rule the earth? Can you order the clouds to send a downpour, or will lightning flash at your command? Did you teach birds to know that rain or floods are on their way? Can you count the clouds or pour out their water on the dry, lumpy soil? When lions are hungry, do you help them hunt? Do you send an animal into their den? And when starving young ravens cry out to me for food, do you satisfy their hunger? When do mountain goats and deer give birth? Have you been there when their young are born? How long are they pregnant before they deliver? Soon their young grow strong and then leave to be on their own. Who set wild donkeys free? I alone help them survive in salty desert sand. They stay far from crowded cities and refuse to be tamed. Instead, they roam the hills searching for pasture land. Would a wild ox agree to live in your barn and labor for you? Could you force him to plow or to drag a heavy log to smooth out the soil? Can you depend on him to use his great strength and do your heavy work? Can you trust him to harvest your grain or take it to your barn from the threshing place? An ostrich proudly flaps her wings, but not because she loves her young. She abandons her eggs and lets the dusty ground keep them warm. And she doesn't seem to worry that the feet of an animal could crush them all. She treats her eggs as though they were not her own, unconcerned that her work might be for nothing. I myself made her foolish and without common sense. But once she starts running, she laughs at a rider on the fastest horse. Did you give horses their strength and the flowing hair along their necks? Did you make them able to jump like grasshoppers or to frighten people with their snorting? Before horses are ridden into battle, they paw at the ground, proud of their strength. Laughing at fear, they rush toward the fighting, while the weapons of their riders rattle and flash in the sun. Unable to stand still, they gallop eagerly into battle when trumpets blast. Stirred by the distant smells and sounds of war, they snort in reply to the trumpet. Did you teach hawks to fly south for the winter? Did you train eagles to build their nests on rocky cliffs where they can look down to spot their next meal? Then their young gather to feast wherever the victim lies. So we see some interesting things taking place, and God is going to settle this dispute, and He's going to do it He's going to do it his way. And so God answers Job, but he does it by asking questions that Job can't answer. And one point in chapter 38, we got to realize the angels witnessed creation. That's the morning stars. And they shouted for joy when God did all that. So here's the way we end. The world is full of mysteries. There's strange animals God created in incredible ways. Ostriches are funny to look at. So here's what we do is we trust the one who is the ruler of them all. Have a great day.